So we've actually are welcoming our guest, Chris Anderson. He is the executive director of malesurvivor.org, which is the leading not-for-profit organization committed to preventing, healing, and eliminating all forms of sexual victimization of boys and men through support, treatment, research, education, advocacy, and activism.
Sir, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you very much for speaking with us today about this particular topic.
Thank you very much for having me.
Not a problem. And you're the executive director of malesurvivor.org. Could you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Malesurvivor.org is an organization that provides hope, healing, and support to male survivors of sexual assault and abuse and our partners in healing.
Oh wow, that was the boilerplate.
You say short and sweet, so.
But no, you can talk a little bit more about it, like break down kind of what you guys do.
We were originally founded back in the mid-'90s by a group of psychotherapists and mental health professionals who were starting to see a rise in the number of male survivors coming into their practices, and they realized there were really no resources available for this population. And in the years since, it's developed into an organization that provides direct resources and support to male survivors from all over the world through our website, where we have a number of discussion forums and a chat room that helps bring survivors together. We have a resource directory that helps survivors find resources in their communities, such as support groups and therapists who have experience working with the population. And we also run some healing retreats and also host an international conference every 2 years in New York City.
Wow, that's a lot, sir.
It is, but it's barely a drop in the bucket when you consider there's probably at least 25 to 30 million male survivors of sexual assault in the U.S. alone.
Really? Are there stats on that? On actual stats on that? Because that's something that we were actually trying to look at. We heard that there was something like 1 in 6 men, but I couldn't find a place that could substantiate that particular number.
One in the currently accepted stats from a couple of different sources. U.S. Department of Justice. There's a study called the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. And research by a number of researchers and experts, among whom Jim Hopper is one of the leading people on this, that puts the number approximately 1 in 6 males are sexually abused before the age of 16.
And by sexually abused, sexually abused, because that's another thing. But a lot of times people don't really look at it in that particular manner, the idea of sexual abuse. So that's including molestation and things like that, right?
Correct. Sexual abuse in the broad term means any form of non-consensual sexual contact between one person and another. When we look at all of the forms of sexual abuse, obviously rape included, but some other forms of non-consensual contact, the numbers truly are staggering when you start digging into it.
Wow. And why is it because I know a lot of times, like they said, the numbers are a little bit hard because there's so much a lot of the stigma that's around it. Could you talk a little bit about the idea of these conversations just not being allowed to happen?
Well, especially in for men and males in general, but also very particularly in certain communities, and especially in many cases this is true in the African American community as well as Latino communities and others. There's a very, very high value placed on this sort of sense of hypermasculinity, the idea that a man can't be vulnerable, a man can't be a victim, and you define your masculinity by not only how tough you are, but how sexually active you are. So the very idea of being open and speaking about having been sexually abused or raped or violated is something that goes very, very much against the grain in many masculine cultures, and that winds up being a huge problem for most male survivors, because it becomes both very difficult for them to come forward and to speak openly about it because of those cultural stereotypes. But there's also a strong lack of resources for male survivors to be able to take advantage of. Oftentimes, I know many stories of male survivors who've actually tried to contact local rape crisis centers and have actually been told that all of the resources in a given community are for female survivors of sexual violence.
Mm. And
Wow.
as of recent, it was up until a certain point, there was a gender aspect to rape, correct?
Yes, that's correct. 2 years ago, the FBI redefined the definition of rape for the purposes of crime statistics reporting, and it became a gender-inclusive definition at that time. So when we actually look at historical statistics for most of the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st century, the FBI simply did not track male rape at all. It didn't exist as a crime in the statistics and the record keeping. And that's still true. There are still a number of states in the country where rape itself is defined as a crime against women in particular, and there's actually no law technically against male rape on the books.
Oh wow, Dasha, you were about to say something?
No, I mean, I was wondering if there's any way to correct, like in a general rape crisis center, to educate about the fact that there's so many men that are survivors of rape and sexual abuse.
Well, I think the work that groups like Male Survivor and other groups like 1 in 6 are doing is starting to make some headway in that. The very fact that we're having this conversation right now is a big indication of the fact that there's a growing awareness in the society that this is a problem that has been underreported and under-resourced for a very, very long time. You know, the issue is not oftentimes that rape crisis centers are unwilling to provide services to male survivors. It's more than anything else, the domestic violence landscape has been sort of framed and surrounded by an idea that traditionally the stereotype is women are victims and males are the perpetrators. And we're starting to learn at last that that's really that's an assumption that isn't necessarily borne out by the statistics. And in order to provide comprehensive services to all victims of sexual violence in our communities, we need to be doing a better job of having these discussions and putting pressure on public agencies and local governments to try and ensure that all survivors of sexual violence, regardless of their age, of their race, of their gender, or any other way you want to characterize somebody, is able to access the support that they need to heal.
Wow. And now there's a lot of conversation around the idea that it's because of the very act, because men, like you were saying earlier, are hypermasculine, like the way how our society kind of paints, and societies as a whole push men in a particular way. The discussion around this doesn't even really hit in any real way, because if something like the story that kind of led us to this, 4 women sexually attacking a dude, that is not looked at as a tragedy as much as, oh wow, that dude got lucky, ha 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 ha.
Right, and in point of fact, those jokes not only reinforce that harmful and destructive stereotype, but they establish a double standard whereby sexual violence is fine as long as it's perpetrated by a female against a man, and is something worthy of joking about, while it also serves to reinforce and further re-victimize both that survivor himself, but any other man who might be, who might have gone through a similar situation, and there are many of them out there. There's a far greater number of men who were sexually violated by a female offender, but who don't understand or even recognize it as sexual assault simply because it was sex with a woman, so they think. We don't see that these are crimes that the heart of this crime is about power and about consent. And if somebody, it doesn't matter who they are, has that ability to give consent taken away from them, that's abuse.
Yeah. No, I do not fight you on this. And so What are some of the tips that you have for people to kind of like deal with this, kind of like get like if they have someone in their life that might have experienced something like this, or this happened to them and they've just been uncomfortable about talking about it in the first place?
Well, if any of your listeners are themselves a survivor and they've never reached out for help, I strongly recommend that they visit our website, malesurvivor.org. We have a tremendous amount of resources there and a wonderful community of survivors on our discussion forums and in our chat rooms. In addition, anybody who's listening who happens to be a friend or a family of somebody who's a survivor, we also have a forum for friends and family as well there. And really, one of the best things to do at the very start is to try and connect with other survivors and just start to really learn that this is something that is far more common than we have ever really thought in the society, and that there are resources, there are communities of support available for every survivor. In addition, one of the things that we always tell people is the first step for every survivor is to be able to find a person or somebody or a safe place to be able to start talking about it. And if you have somebody in your life who you think is a survivor or has told you they're a survivor, the best thing that you can possibly do just at the very start is believe them. Don't joke about it. Don't tell them, oh, it couldn't have been that bad. Just believe them and say, I believe what you're telling me, and I'm willing to help you find whatever you need in order to be able to heal.
Wow.
Indeed,
sir. Thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with us. It's very much appreciated. And the website again is
www.malesurvivor.org.
And do you have any social media that people can follow for information?
Absolutely. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/malesurvivor, and we're also on Twitter at malesurvivor.org, and the ORG is capitalized.
Indeed. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.